Sometimes the person who loves you the most is the one who chooses distance over closeness. Not because their heart is empty, but because it is overwhelmed. Their silence is not coldness. Their absence is not rejection. It is love trying to survive quietly. We live in a world that tells us love is loud, that if someone truly cares, they will chase, cling, and never let go. So when someone steps back, when they pull away just as things begin to matter, we assume the worst. But there is a kind of love that doesn't know how to shout, a love that retreats, not because it feels less, but because it feels too much. Some people love so deeply that distance becomes their defense. They don't disappear to punish you. They disappear to protect themselves, and sometimes to protect you. If you've ever felt someone loving you quietly from afar, this isn't coincidence. This video may explain the pain you couldn't put into words. Let's begin. 1. They carry love like a responsibility, not a game. A person who loves you deeply doesn't see love as excitement alone. They see it as weight, not a burden, but a responsibility. When they fall for you, their first instinct isn't pleasure, it's accountability. They begin asking themselves questions you never hear out loud. Can I protect this heart? Can I show up consistently? Am I emotionally stable enough not to hurt them? And when they're unsure of the answers, they step back. Distance becomes their pause button. They would rather withdraw than promise something they aren't ready to uphold. Rather than give you half presence, they give you space. This kind of person doesn't want to love you carelessly. They've seen what careless love does to people, to trust, to souls. So instead of rushing toward you, they retreat to evaluate themselves. It's painful because from the outside, it looks like indifference, but inside, it's the opposite. They care so much that they refuse to enter your life until they believe they can stay without damaging you. Their distance isn't about losing interest. It's about earning the right to be close. 2. They were taught to endure, not express. A person who loves you deeply but keeps his distance often grew up learning that emotions were something to be carried, not shared. Somewhere along the way, he absorbed the quiet lesson that vulnerability was dangerous, that expressing pain or longing would only invite disappointment, judgment, or loss. So when love arrives, real love, the kind that shakes the foundations of his inner world, he doesn't know how to step forward without fear. His heart opens, but his instincts pull him backward, because intimacy feels unfamiliar, even unsafe. He wants to speak, but his silence has been practiced for years. He wants to reach out, but distance feels like the only language he was ever taught to speak fluently. Not because he doesn't trust you, but because he has never been shown how to trust his own emotions without consequence. This is the kind of person who feels everything intensely, but reveals very little. Love doesn't soften him immediately. It unsettles him. It forces him to confront parts of himself he learned to bury in order to survive. So he steps away, not to punish you, not to test you, but to regain control over emotions that feel too large, too unfamiliar, too exposed. Distance becomes his shield, a place where he can process love without the fear of being seen as weak or overwhelmed. If you're standing on the other side of that distance, music it hurts because you feel the love but not the closeness. But understand this, his retreat is not a lack of feeling. It is the echo of a life spent learning how to endure quietly, now struggling to learn how to love openly. 3. Loving you awakens fears he thought he had buried. When a person loves you deeply and still keeps his distance, it's often because loving you awakens fears he believed were long buried. Your presence doesn't just bring warmth and connection. It stirs memories, vulnerabilities, and emotional wounds he worked hard to survive. You make him feel seen in ways he didn't prepare for. With you, he isn't hiding behind roles, routines, or distractions. And that level of emotional exposure is terrifying to someone who learned to protect himself by staying guarded. He doesn't fear love itself. He fears losing it, ruining it, or failing at it, because once you matter this much, the stakes rise quietly but heavily. Suddenly, every decision feels consequential. Every step closer feels like something that could be taken away. Distance becomes his way of breathing again, of slowing down emotions that threaten to overwhelm him. This isn't about doubt in you, it's about doubt in himself. He wonders if he's healed enough, strong enough, present enough to sustain what his heart feels. And instead of pulling you into that uncertainty, he pulls himself back, believing space is safer than accidental damage. You may feel confused, even hurt, watching him retreat while his actions still carry care and attention. But understand this truth. The deeper his feelings, the more cautious he becomes. Love doesn't make him reckless. It makes him reflective. His distance is not emotional abandonment. It's emotional self-preservation in the face of something that feels too important to risk mishandling. 4. He loves you enough to fear becoming your disappointment. When a person loves you deeply and still keeps his distance, it is often because the thought of becoming your disappointment music terrifies him more than being alone. Loving you doesn't just make him imagine joy and closeness. It forces him to imagine responsibility, expectations, and the fragile future where he could let you down. He sees how you deserve consistency, emotional presence, and a kind of love that doesn't arrive halfway. And instead of stepping forward blindly, he pauses, measuring himself against what he believes you need. Distance becomes his way of asking a painful internal question. Can I truly be what this love requires? This isn't insecurity rooted in ego. It's fear rooted in care. He doesn't want to promise what he cannot sustain. He doesn't want to show up passionately today, only to fade tomorrow. So he steps back, not because he doubts you, but because he doubts his ability to protect the tenderness you offer. In his silence, he is not forgetting you. He is imagining the weight of your trust and wondering if he is strong enough to carry it without dropping it. Loving you raises the stakes of his life, forcing him to confront unfinished healing, unresolved goals, and emotional gaps he hoped wouldn't matter. Distance becomes his preparation space, a quiet place where he tries to become someone worthy of the way you feel. From the outside, it looks like hesitation or emotional unavailability. From the inside, it is a man wrestling with the fear of failing someone who means everything to him. 5. He is fighting the urge to love you the wrong way. A person who loves you deeply but keeps his distance is often doing so because he is painfully aware of how easily love can turn selfish, dependent, or destructive when it is rushed or unhealed. Loving you awakens a powerful urge in him, not just to be close, but to merge, to rely, to cling, and that realization frightens him. He doesn't want to love you from a place of need. He wants to love you from a place of wholeness. So when his feelings grow intense, when he catches himself thinking about you more than he expects, needing your presence more than he planned, he steps back to regain balance. Distance becomes his way of making sure that love remains clean, respectful, and rooted in choice rather than emotional hunger. This is the kind of person who understands that love, when mixed with unresolved pain, can unintentionally suffocate the very thing it cherishes. He has seen what happens when people lean too hard on someone they haven't healed for themselves, and he refuses to make you responsible for wounds you didn't create. So he retreats, not because his feelings are shallow, but because they are powerful. He wants to meet you as an equal, not as someone seeking rescue or validation. He wants his love to feel safe in his own hands before placing it in yours. From the outside, his distance can feel confusing, even unfair. but inside it is an act of restraint, discipline, and respect. He is choosing to slow down something sacred rather than risk corrupting it because he doesn't just want you, he wants to love you well. If someone loves you deeply and still keeps his distance, try to remember this. Not all love knows how to arrive loudly. Some love arrives carefully, carrying its own fears, lessons, and unfinished healing. Distance does not always mean disinterest. Sometimes it means restraint. Sometimes it means someone is fighting quietly to become safe for the love they feel, rather than reckless with it. A heart that steps back to understand itself, music, is often a heart that takes love seriously. You may never hear these struggles spoken out loud. You may only feel them in pauses, silences, and moments where closeness almost happens but doesn't. And that uncertainty can hurt. But know this: if someone is willing to slow down rather than rush into you carelessly, that alone speaks volumes about how deeply they care. Love isn't always about possession or constant presence. Sometimes it's about patience, self-awareness, and the courage to grow before stepping forward. If this message resonated with you, trust that your heart recognized something true, not because it's easy, but because it's honest. Comment, "I understand now." If this video helped you see love differently, share this with someone who may be loving quietly, struggling silently, or needing these words today. Subscribe for more emotional, honest conversations about love, healing, and human connection. Stories that speak to the parts of us that rarely find words. If this message touched something inside you, don't scroll past it. Love isn't always loud, chasing, or obvious. Sometimes it hides in silence and distance. If you've ever felt confused by someone who cares but pulls away, this is your reminder. Not all distance is disinterest. Stay with this story. Reflect on the people who stepped back, not because they didn't love you, but because loving you felt overwhelming, risky, or too real. Join the conversation below. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you needed space to protect your heart? Or have you been on the receiving end of that distance? Follow, subscribe for more truths about love that people rarely say out loud, because understanding love doesn't start with answers. It starts with awareness.